Guys, welcome to the Caring for Creatures show. It's Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on a Thursday, a rainy Thursday across Central Virginia. We have a good program lined up for you on the Caring for Creatures show. We are going to talk dog training, and we're going to talk how training your dog properly can help with the homing, the socialization, the assimilation of your adopted animal from Caring for Creatures into your home. And really, from my personal experience, a well-trained dog, and guys, I have a well-trained dog and I have not well-trained dog, okay? And the well-trained dog makes the entire experience with your lovey, furry friend so much more enjoyable because there's a level of trust with that animal that is prevalent and a level of accountability. A level of what to expect with the animal, and that's very, very important. I think Harris Tolber's our director. Let's go to the experts here. Let's go to the studio cam, and we'll welcome Mary Birkholz, the president and founding of Caring for Creatures. Hello.
Hello. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you as well. This is Ashleigh Morris. She is our dog trainer extraordinaire. An expert in getting our furry friends to do the things we need them to do. And we're going to do a demo very shortly with Liza, a CFC rescue, right here in our studio. Before we get to Ashleigh, we'll have Mary take the spotlight and update us on what has transpired over the last week at CFC.
Okay, it's been a good week. We've had a few adoptions, and mostly what I want to remind everybody about is, number one, Greenberry's special almond brittle latte is still out there. We still need you to get over there and keep buying till the end of March. Everyone you buy, we are getting the entire cost of that latte being donated by Greenberry's to Caring for Creatures. So keep going. It is still March Madness, right?
Yes,
For the
all the way
lattes,
through March.
All the way through March.
Yeah.
So do that. Caring for Creatures has just kicked off our Power of 10 campaign. The Power of 10 means the power of $10 is huge. We find that a lot of people will say to us, oh, you know, I don't really have a lot of money to spend. I don't have a lot of money. Well, you know what? $10 is a lot of money to us. And we can do a lot of things with $10. We can buy 16 cans of Fancy Feast. We can buy 8 cans of Pedigree. We can give 8 dogs or 8 cats their distemper combo vaccines. So a lot of people donating $10 makes a big difference. So that goes from now until the end of April. So get your $10 or your multiple of 10. That's okay too.
Yeah, we'll take 100.
We'll take 100. You know, that's okay. But so those are the two newsy things I want to get out.
Fantastic. Now, back to Mary Birkholz. She has invited a volunteer.
Right.
So did you say 16 years?
16.
Yeah.
16 years at
Huge.
Caring for Creatures, which is Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary. These guys doing it before anyone in Fluvanna County and CFC. And the whole objective of this program is to take this fabulous organization and this fabulous charity and this brand and bring it into the Central Virginia, Charlottesville, Albemarle County markets so you can understand that this is truly Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary. We're doing that, Mary, by showcasing the charity, the brand, the mission through the eyes, in a lot of ways, of the volunteers.
Absolutely.
And I think she embodies that.
Absolutely. No question about it. Ashleigh is one of those people who has this quietness about her, and you can see that the animals look at her and go, okay, what she got up her sleeve. But Ashleigh is the president of No Place Like Home Pet Services. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am, you got it perfect.
She's also the instructor for dog training classes over at the Fluvanna Dog Spot, which is in Fork Union at the community center. So she does lots of classes over there. But how we love to have Ashleigh known is she also volunteers her expertise at Caring for Creatures. Dogs that we get into the facility often have absolutely no idea about behaviors and what's appropriate in living with a human. And I'm talking about, and many of the ones that we have had, okay, let's bring up Polly.
Okay.
Polly is a pit bull that we took from a high kill facility.
Okay.
And he, in the past, on one of the shows, I think I talked about the personality descriptions we get, before we say, yes, I'll take this dog, that dog, this dog. And we were told, what a sweet, laid-back guy. Within 15 minutes of arriving at Caring for Creatures, he was like wild man.
Okay.
He was grabbing at clothes and jumping, and we kind of thought, okay, what happened to that laid-back guy? But okay, this is who we have. But I think he felt so comfortable, he was like, okay, I'm safe here, let me be who I am. And we thought, okay, this is trouble. So we had most of the staff and most of the volunteers saying, I ain't going in that pen. Because you'd go in all right, and he was happy, and you could feed him and do all of that, but then try to leave, and he was on you. And I mean grabbing at arms and legs, not biting,
Sure.
but he was grabbing clothes and coats.
Didn't know how to behave.
No, he had
Please
no
don't
Jesus.
leave me. Please don't leave
Don't
me.
Yeah.
leave me, don't leave me, I want to be here. So, long story short on Polly, Ashleigh helped us out, and Polly had a few fear issues too. And anyway, we worked, and we had several other volunteer dog walkers. We limited the number of people who were approved to work with him, only those willing to go through the steps that Ashleigh set out for us. And man, we worked hard with that dog. And we ended up having a previous adopter who still had one of our CFC dogs show interest. Well, they came, they lived out of town, Polly and their dog did well, and he ended up going home with them.
Cool. Success story.
It was hugely successful, and they continued his training. And he ended up getting this certificate. I mean, we happened to see a picture of him lying in this group of 20 dogs, just as quiet and happy as he could be. And, it's just like a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
And Ashleigh has helped us work, that kind of magic with others. And some are a little different. Levi is another one. And he was recently adopted into his new home. And we always encourage everyone, do not stop training, do not stop training, do not stop training. So anyway, it only has produced success stories for us. And I felt what Ashleigh has to share. And it's not complicated, it's fun. We need to educate others about all of this. And not only is Ashleigh here today to do that, but she's agreed to be a regular visitor.
On the show?
Maybe on the show every
Whoa,
Thursday.
all right, Ashleigh.
We're just going to have
Stepping
our
out of comfort zones.
ongoing training class here.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That is
we
a
thought
really
it would
good
be
idea.
fun. There's
Yeah.
too much to cover in one visit.
Right.
That's totally
So
true.
we're just going to keep going.
Quite the introduction to lead up to and stand up to
Yeah.
right there.
I don't
Mary
think I can
Birkholz.
live up to all of that.
I'm sure you
Goodness,
can.
that was amazing.
She is amazing.
All right, we'll start open-ended with you. Put in perspective what you do at CFC, what you love about training with dogs, what you
Sure.
love. I mean, clearly you've made your passion your profession. And I think when you do that, you feel like you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
Show is yours.
All right. I have to say that I love what I do at Caring for Creatures because they are following up on the things that I establish. If I come out there and work with the dogs for an hour here and there, it's not going to make a difference. It's the day in, day out interactions that are really making a difference. And that's what I do when I go into people's homes, when I'm working in classes. I am training those people to work with those dogs. So we talked about, I started volunteering at Caring for Creatures 16 years ago when I first started my dog training education. Okay. And when I first went out, I was working directly with the dogs. I was learning different personalities and temperaments and ages and breeds and sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing one-on-one stuff with the dogs. And then as my education grew, as my business grew, and my time started filling up more, Mary and I talked about how could I most effectively continue to volunteer and help these dogs now that I can't come out on a weekly basis. And we came up with, let's work with the staff and the volunteers, because these are the folks that day in, day out are going in, they're feeding the dogs, they're interacting with the dogs, they're walking the dogs. Let me work with them to give them insight to be able to help create positive, responses from the dogs, teaching them that working with humans is a positive thing. Humans are not to be afraid of, and teaching people how to be benevolent and confident leaders. Dogs really want to follow someone who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
And sometimes if they figure out that you don't, they will decide they're going to take the lead.
Take over.
Exactly. And so we just want to let them know, no. Life is really good when you do what we want you to do.
I love that answer. So in a lot of ways, Meredith, I'm going to throw it to you. Ashleigh is using her expertise, and in some ways where she's training the people as volunteers at CFC to then train the dogs. You're scaling the model.
Yeah. And what happens is now the volunteers who have learned how to do something with this dog, they can now apply it to every other new dog.
I love it.
That comes here. So it's knowledge that just keeps giving.
The trickle-down effect.
Just keep using it, and it's priceless. I mean, I know what it is to an adopter, because I've seen it happen myself. And they come and there's 2 or 3 dogs they're particularly interested in meeting. And if you have been able to work with these dogs, and I'm just talking a simple sit, and you pull the dog out to go meet the potential adopter, the dog approaches the human and sits. And I have seen the look on people's faces go, oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
Does it give some confidence?
Yeah.
And then again, when the human has confidence, the dog can feed off that confidence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on the other hand, we have certain dogs that are challenging from the perspective of they're not necessarily comfortable with humans, first thing. They need to warm up to humans. And Ashleigh has given us a couple of tips to work with the dog to learn a game so that, and we've said this before, humans are not always good at listening to just allowing the dog to come to you. And so reaching out, we've had dogs that will snap at the hands coming towards them.
Just like a human would to another human.
Exactly.
If we got in their personal space.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, back off.
Yeah.
And the dogs have no other way of saying it.
Of course, they don't talk.
They don't talk like that. So she taught us a game to teach the dog, and then that we can then share with the human and go, we're going to play a game, and this is how you're going to meet this dog. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but because the human has to also want to do it. But I think probably we've come up with a few challenges for Ashleigh over the years, and
I love it.
She's always come up with a way of making it work.
I can't wait to ask her about these challenges. Harris Tolber's our director. Why don't you take Ashleigh's first answer and turn it into a sizzle reel for CFC and for Ashleigh. Here, what I'd like to do with your second answer and your second question, if you're okay with this, is kind of tell what we call on the show the birth story or the evolution of you as a professional, as an expert.
Okay.
Start to finish, if there was an aha moment, or if there was something where you can kind of look back on and be like, that was one of those times in my life where I was at a crossroads and I realized that I went this way and it led me to here, and now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Show is yours.
Okay, well, I went to college, had no clue what I wanted to do with my life.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I graduated, still had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I worked at a law firm because I thought maybe I would want to be an attorney, decided I did not want to be an attorney, but I had an amazing boss, and so I worked with him and thought maybe I want to be a pharmaceutical rep. You don't have to work in an office all day long. You get to meet new people and travel around and all that kind of cool stuff. Got a job offer with a pharmaceutical company and felt sick to my stomach and was like, whoa, what is this? So it's funny the things that you remember in life, and it was a total turning point. I was driving, I remember exactly where I was. I was driving down, I was at the stoplight at Monticello Avenue, and I literally said out loud, oh my gosh, what is wrong? This is what I should be happy. This is what I thought I wanted to do. And literally Dog Trainer popped into my head. And I was like, is that a viable career option? I don't even know if you can do that. I'm not sure. So I literally said out loud, okay, if that's what you want me to do, you're going to have to make it happen. And things have just fallen into place like you wouldn't believe. I met Cheryl Falconbury, my mentor extraordinaire, an amazing animal behaviorist for over 30 years before she retired, and kind of passed me the reins. And she introduced me to Mary, and Mary has also been integral in my education, letting me come out and work with all the various dogs at Caring for Creatures. And really, it's grown over the years. I have met so many amazing dogs and people, and really what makes it all worthwhile for me is to hear somebody say, oh my gosh, that helped so much. I didn't realize how simple it was to turn my dog's behavior around, to be able to have a dog who no longer reacts to other dogs on leash, who doesn't, growl when we walk by the food bowl, things that we thought maybe we were going to have to get rid of this dog. Now this dog is just a happy, healthy member of the family.
A lot of people are giving you some props right now.
Oh, nice.
Brenda and Jim Scamarella.
Yeah,
Is that
I
right?
mess up the name too. But
I'm sorry,
yes,
Brenda
Brenda and Jim.
Jim.
Sorry, but
They
yes,
love the show. Thank you for watching, guys, and give the show a like and a share no matter what stream you're watching. We will get to some of your comments, and we certainly can relay them to the ladies on set. You, I think, and I and Mary have a lot of similar qualities in that I could not possibly imagine of sitting in one chair 9 to 5 or 9 to 7 Monday through Friday and just like doing the grind. And you mentioned that with the law firm. You kind of mentioned that as the pharmaceutical rep, although you have more freedom with there. Certainly probably more of a corporate gig than you wanted. With what you're doing now as an entrepreneur and as a dog trainer, I mean, you could do what you want. Work as much as you want, work as little as you want, have as positive an impact as you want. Put that in perspective and then tie it back into CFC and working with the dogs if you could.
You pretty much wrapped everything up in a nice little bow. I love the fact that I get to have freedom in what I do. I love getting out there and meeting new people and new dogs and being able to solve problems. I also like knowing other trainers in the area. So if something does not fit into my specialty, I am so happy to say, I can't really help you with that, but please feel free to call so-and-so or such and such. I feel like it's such a need to have a collaborative effect. And again, I feel like I am helping Caring for Creatures and sharing, the knowledge and the expertise that I've learned along the way and that I continue to learn. I feel like life is always a learning experience. You have to stay open. But I still feel like, speaking of that I get a lot of education still at Caring for Creatures. They come up with all sorts of things that, wait, I maybe haven't seen it quite, presented this way before. This is a challenge for me to figure out how are we going to help this dog to learn a new behavior.
And Mary, this is especially important at CFC because all the dogs that you're adopting, most of them are not puppies. I would think much easier taking a puppy from scratch and training as opposed to a middle-aged dog that may be his or her set in their ways.
Exactly. They've had several years to learn all the things not to do to be with humans. They've also learned not all humans are going to be nice. So you have those obstacles. Puppies who... And trust me, puppies are a lot of work, and you better be on it with your training with puppies.
But
if
they're
you want
malleable.
them. But they're a little
trainable.
more open.
Yeah.
And the other dogs are open, but their responses sometimes are at this extreme level, as opposed to the sweet puppy who's like, oh, okay, if that's what you want me to do, that's cool. And the other dogs are like, whoa, that didn't work well for me before, so I'm not going there. A leash is a foreign object. So bless our dog walking volunteers who deal with a lot of these dogs who have lengthened their arms quite a bit in the pulling process. And I hate to say it this way, but sometimes I say they've gotten mauled, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Sure.
It's, so
like
have I.
Polly.
So it's like Polly, or Levi was a good mauler in the beginning. They're just on you, and because they're excited. They do not know how to contain that excitement and where to put that energy in a positive way. So that's what the training does for them.
I love it. Mary Bright says, hey, Ashley.
Hey there.
Mary Bright here. You work with CFC adoptee Brooks.
Yes.
Would love for you to relay some anecdotal about working with Brooks. And she also says, thank you for all you do, and Mary for offering these opportunities to everybody.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. So?
Yeah, well, honestly, Brooks had a lot of the same issues that a lot of the dogs do. And it really, humans make things complicated. And we tend to make training into this big deal, and I've got to do all these complicated steps, and it's not. It's really teaching people to break it down, make it small, make it something that is easy for the dog to do. I tell my students ad nauseum, to set your dog up for success, and that's true. I want to make it super easy for you to do what I want you to do, and it was the same with Brooks. I'm going to make it easy for you to do these things that, make it easier for you to live in the human world so that you can be a success. You can go into your home and enjoy your life, and your family enjoys you, and everybody wins.
I love it. I love it. We got to get Harris Tolber, our director, in the mix. Harris is going to appreciate this, and I'm going to embarrass him a little bit here. His mom, Randy Tolber, is currently watching the show right now. Get this. This is the power of social media. She's watching the show from, and I'm going to butcher this because I'm not very well traveled, the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, yeah.
She's watching from there. And then Larry and Stephanie Rhodes, who at one time lived at Lake Monticello in Fluvanna and know Caring for Creatures well. They have since moved to the Keswick area. Larry Rhodes says, hey, Jerry, hey, Mary, I'm watching from Jamaica right now.
Oh, wow.
Love the
How
show.
exciting.
So let's get Harris Tolber, our director of the mix. Ma Dukes is watching on vacay. Is that what's happening here, Harris?
Yeah, unfortunately, our camera's being used for our demo that we're doing, so I can't say her directly hello, but shout out to my mom in the Galapagos. I saw you on Facebook with like a massive turtle. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I love it. Karen Straley says hello.
Hey, Karen.
Yeah, she's
Yay,
awesome.
she is awesome. Yeah.
Brennan Jim, so happy to take a second to watch from Paws for Seniors headquarters.
Oh,
that's where they're watching.
Yeah. Good.
Linda Cortez says, I absolutely love Caring for Creatures.
Linda, hi.
Guys, like and share the feed if you could. We are going to do a demo shortly with Liza, who's a CFC rescue here at inside our I Love CVille studio with Ashleigh. Before we do, and I want to throw this to Mary, and then we can segue from there. You mentioned something about start training right away. And I fell victim to this with my first dog. 3 dogs, 2 dogs now, 3 dogs in my lifetime. My first dog, the Chow Shepherd, and she was so stubborn because 2 stubborn breeds, Chow and Shepherd, and especially the Chow, I do not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I was
You
just
picked a hard one.
especially when I was in college.
Oh,
at
Lord.
UVA,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
were aggressive way back then.
grew
Yeah.
up in a fraternity house with a dog, had no money.
Now I'm feeling sorry for her.
No, seriously, I love this dog.
I know you do.
Lucy, I didn't train for a while. I was just like more into like, oh, I got a dog. I'm in college. I'm going to use this dog to meet girls. I'm not going to use this dog to like get her to sit and walk on the leash correctly and do the right things. As the older they get, the more difficult it was to train.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I feel is in the adoption process, and certainly we do what we can at Caring for Creatures, we can't give them the 24/7 one-on-one attention that an adopter, new human in their life can. But I feel if you start that dog out, the moment you step out of the car in your home, so they understand, oh, okay, this is where I pee and poop. Oh, okay. Now we're going to bring out the other dog that lives there, and we're going to get to know that other dog. But and Ashleigh has all the right information for that. But I always feel, my personal opinion is, if you give a new dog and everyone is all excited and they're feeling really good, we've rescued this wonderful dog, and they let them have carte blanche in the house. And sadly, it's far more difficult to rein them back in,
Sure.
probably much like a human child might be, than it is to say, uh-oh, we're not doing that. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do instead. And we always try to encourage people, get your dog into a training class as soon as one is available. It's bonding experience for the two of you. The dog gets to interact with, in some regards anyway, with the other dogs in the class. And if you find there's a behavior in the first couple of weeks in a new home, you can have the eyes of a professional trainer to be able to say, yeah, okay, I think this is what you need to do. So it's just a huge investment that will pay off hugely for you.
What I found, and I'm going to throw it to Ashleigh, what I found with my first one, did not train her that well. She became not great off leash. When she did get off leash and when we were throwing the ball, as long as I had her attention with the ball or the Kong, she would respond to me. But if for some reason I lost her attention from that, getting her back was extremely difficult. With Leo and Max, my purebred German Shepherds, dogs 2 and 3, they immediately went to the dog training class. That served, as Mary said, a bonding experience for us. Socialized them with other dogs as well, because there was oftentimes many dogs in the dog training class and not just one. And I was able to enjoy them at levels that I could not necessarily enjoy Lucy, specifically off leash, and specifically with a robust amount of vocal commands that they had, anywhere from just off the top of my head, say 25, 30 commands, where Lucy may have known like 5 commands. Put it into perspective. You're the expert, balls in your court, about training the dog early on and acclimating the dog to his or her home upon homing that dog.
Right. I absolutely agree 100% with Mary. I think training starts the moment they step into your arena. It doesn't have to be formalized training. I do absolutely encourage people to team up with a trainer to do private sessions, to go and do classes, whatever it is that you're looking for, but get that training going right away. But even aside from the formalized training, like Mary said, teach them to go outside to the potty, teach them to sit before they get their meal, teach them, if you don't want them on the furniture, don't let them on the furniture and then decide later that you would like for them not to be on the furniture. Have everything happen the way that you want it to happen from day one. And you touched really early on in the program, Jerry, trust is huge. To me, that's the biggest thing. If my dog doesn't trust me, how are they going to take commands from me and listen to what I want them to do? So again, that training is such a bonding experience. It's teaching my dog that I am a confident and a competent and a benevolent leader, and that following under my lead, good things happen.
Well, I think sometimes, and Mary, jump in here, I think sometimes in the beginning, say if it's a younger dog, we are so seduced and romanticized by, oh my gosh, look at this cute puppy, that like, it's almost like a stuffed animal, and we don't realize that this stuffed animal could grow into a 135-pound black German Shepherd that's going to scare the hell out of people. Okay?
And that's exactly what happens.
So it's like, get that puppy mindset out of your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people, one thing they absolutely love is letting their dog sleep with them. And I think that's fine if that's your choice. In the bed.
Yeah.
My choice, I used to.
Okay.
I changed my ways too. But I've also had pretty large dogs. My 2 big shepherds did not.
Yeah.
We're talking 100 and some and 90 some pounds.
Right.
And my current dog, Charlie, is about 80. But just as a weird example, and I like to promote Charlie, Charlie's probably a shepherd lab mix of sorts.
She loves shepherds.
I do.
I couldn't tell.
Me too.
Anyway, I did not want Charlie on the bed, number one. So he has a lovely bed and on the floor next to my bed. But what Charlie was able to learn, and he is very smart, at night, he's on his bed. In the day, after I've made the bed and I'm getting ready to go to work, if he wants to be on the bed, that's fine. And he knows the difference. And in the beginning, oh my Lord, did he test me? He would jump on the bed. I mean, and I'm talking right before going to bed, and I'm tired, and I'm like, no, I can be just as stubborn as you.
Sure.
And he'd be up on the bed. Oh, this is a fun game. And I go, off. And lead him off. 2 seconds later, he's up again. And we can do this for 10 minutes. And he's just waiting for me to give in. And I never gave in. And he went, okay, she means it. So dogs have a tendency to claim a space. And in the beginning, it might not be the approach you want to take. And that's where you get phone calls with people, my dog is snarling at me trying to get into bed, or, something similar to that. And that's what will happen.
Sure.
It could happen anyway. May not always. Everybody's different, but yeah. It's important.
Robin Bonco says, hi, Ashley. You look fantastic.
Thank you
and
so much.
Robin Bonco says, you are so wise and benevolent.
Yes, she is.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin Bonco, for joining us here on the Caring for Creatures show. Positive reinforcement. I've struggled with this. I think a lot of people struggle with this. We are going to do a demo with Liza, a CFC rescue, here shortly. So this is what I struggled with. Initially, with my first dog, I had the choker collar. And the choker collar, the silver thing that, and I realized very quickly that this thing was like not what I should have on my dog. Okay, because if she, for some reason, would sprint, and this shows you how dumb I was, okay? I was in college.
We're all dumb at one point.
We live and we learn.
The retractable 20-foot leash with a choker collar, and not mindful of what my surroundings were. And she would sprint, and she was fast, sprint for 20 feet, and then have the choker collar on, and literally would do like the wraparound. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna kill my dog here. And then took the choker collar off. That is probably the weakest form of negative reinforcement possible. There's much more negative reinforcement that's worse. But where I'm going with this is like, talk to us about positive reinforcement.
Sure.
We're humans. We make mistakes.
Yes.
So,
and that's one of the biggest reasons that I am such a big fan of positive reinforcement training is if you make a mistake, you are not going to ruin your dog. I am not a trainer who poo-poos anybody else's methods. I know some people that have done corrections-based method training and their dogs are fine, they're well-adjusted, they learned everything they needed to learn. But personally, I want my dogs to be thinking and figuring out how to earn the rewards that they are getting. And in the beginning, it's food rewards. You phase that food back. As you're phasing the food out and putting it on an intermittent reward schedule, then you start to up the ante on your other forms of reward. So your dog is having to think. With corrections-based method training, they are just avoiding something negative. And with positive reinforcement training, they are thinking, how do I earn that treat? How do I earn that praise? How do I earn you to toss the tennis ball for me? So especially when you are working with working breed dogs like Shepherds and Labs and Rotties and all sorts of other dogs that are bred for a job, I need to give that dog something to think about. I need to exercise their brain and give them some mental stimulation as well as physical stimulation. So positive reinforcement, the wheels are turning, those gears are moving around trying to figure out what it is you want. And it makes it really fun for the human too, because as you start to see that light bulb go on and the dog is figuring out what you want, you can see their face lights up and they get real proud of themselves, and it's just a fun thing to engage in. I get a lot of very common misconceptions. Number one, that training in and of itself is just teaching a dog what something means. That's only half of the battle. I know a lot of dogs that know exactly what something means, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to. And so I have to motivate that dog to want to do what I want them to do. And again, relationship is a big part of that. Yeah, you know, positive trainers can sometimes get flack for using treats and stuff like that, but I don't want your dog to only work for food any more than you do. And my dogs have never worked for food. They worked because we started out with the food to get the training ball rolling, but then we built a relationship, and they listened to me because they trusted me. They knew that I was in their corner. I was looking out for their best interest, and you know, Mom does a lot of really cool stuff with us and for us. A second common misconception about positive-based training is that you never tell your dog no. That's not the case. Some things are inappropriate, some things are dangerous, some things I just don't want you to do it.
Right.
And so, you know, with positive training, it's three very basic, simple concepts. I ignore behaviors that I don't want. I reward behaviors that I do want. And if there's a behavior that I can't ignore, I'm going to interrupt it and redirect it. So that's the no. No, you may not have that shoe that you're chewing on, but instead of just taking the shoe away and saying no, your dog obviously either has a need if they're a puppy or a desire to chew. So if I just take the shoe away and say no, you still have that desire or that need to chew, so you're going to go find something else to chew on. It's very likely to be something else I'd rather you not chew on, so I'm going to cut out just the possibility of you going to chew on the sofa or the rug, and I'm going to say, no, you may not have that. Here, have this instead, and I'm going to redirect them to the appropriate thing. So with positive reinforcement, anytime you say no, you quickly follow it up with something that's appropriate and then train that appropriate behavior. So then the dog starts to figure out, I might as well not even mess with shoes. I'm just going to go directly for my Kong or, you know, whatever the chewy toy is.
You are a natural.
Yeah,
that was so
she
good
is.
right there. Sizzle reel, that answer right there. That was so good. And you're getting props on the feed here. Celia Tumalo says, Ashley's so wonderful with animals. She has this calming presence that they immediately pick up and respond to. That's just one of the many ways that make her such an amazing trainer.
Oh,
also, excuse me, we have Kim Smith, so thankful for Ashley and all of her advice and wisdom. Jump in here, Mary.
Yeah, Ashley, everyone who is saying that and has worked with Ashley, they're absolutely right. She does have that quiet calmness that the dogs pick up on. They sense, okay, this is cool. This person's not overly intense. This person's not going to be somebody I have to fight off, if you will. I know that's a little exaggeration. But I feel as though she's able to pick very quickly the behavior that needs to be corrected. And if one approach doesn't work, which is often can be the case, you know, she'll come up with a different approach for us. And it's perfect, absolutely perfect.
I think what we should do is do a demo. So we'll get one of our producers, Judah Wickhauer, who's the father of Liza.
Sweater.
Liza the dog, a CFC rescue, and the I Love CVille mascot. He's going to join us on set. Harris Tolber, our director, will put it on studio cam. We have a plan in place. We're going to put a little pressure on you. As we're moving, you're going to fill the air with some commentary and conversation.
All
you're
right.
going to keep the mic this time. Last time we
they took
Diane
the mic away
White.
from me. Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And she did
Diane,
such a
she
great
did
show.
great. Now
She did
I
a
have
great
to.
job.
Yeah, she
Now
was
you have to
perfect.
fill some big
now
shoes.
I have to big shoes.
Okay, so we're going to go. I'm going to follow your lead.
So, with Liza, one of the things that we're hoping that will work in a demo today is one of my favorite is a drop it game, and I had talked about Liza earlier, and I was told that she really loves soft, squishy toys, and in fact can destroy them in a matter of 2 seconds. So I brought some of those in the hopes if she couldn't be interested in something else. But it looks like we have 2 or 3 toys that she's decided. We're okay? You're ready to go.
All right, fantastic. Harris Tolber, good job. We are now in our demo set, if you may. Judah, we looking good over there? Everything's looking good. All right, Judah Wickower. So Ashleigh is going to run us through some demonstrations with Liza, who happens to be a Caring for Creatures rescue. I'm going to hold the mic in the general vicinity of you, and I'm going to get out of your way.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think we may have actually ruined the drop it game demonstration because she's aware that I have food, and if we can't get her to take something in her mouth, we can't really play the drop it game. So I'm going to focus on the other stuff and then maybe see if we can get her to take something.
Try one of those in the bag.
Oh, she wants Dad. Liza. Liza, good girl. So with positive reinforcement training, I do a lot of luring and capturing. Luring, think fishing. I take something. If I'm introducing a sit, I'm going to bring the treat up over the dog's head. Yes, good sit. Now, I will admit she knows a sit already, so that was not, stellar training. But what happens is a dog's anatomy is designed so that if they're looking up, that bottom hits the ground, then I can reward the sit. One of the first things that I like to teach any dog is a look command. And a lot of people are like, that's kind of weird. Why would you teach your dog to look at you? But if I have a dog's focus on me,
sure,
I can, if there's another dog running by and my dog is likely to get a little snarly at that dog, if I keep them focusing at me, they can't get snarly. They can't get all excited because they are focusing on me. So the way I introduce it is I show her the treat. I bring it up next to my eye and I wait for eye contact. And if she gets distracted, I just bring it back up. Yes, good look.
That's what we do. We do that with the eye, and then
Excellent.
we add the verbal, like, tss, and then get that with it, and then the tss, without the treat, gets them looking too.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is a really good one. It helps to keep your dogs, again, focused. And if you need to redirect, if they're focusing on something else, if you can get that look, get them redirected to something much, much easier.
Cool.
So the look... there's like 2 commands that you ask for in the beginning, but I always stress to people, don't ask for something when you're first introducing it unless I tell you otherwise, because otherwise people are repeating. And I'll be saying, Liza, look, 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 look. And she's going to try everything she knows. I'll give her a treat for that. But she's not likely to do it right away. If I'm introducing it, she's not likely to give it to me because she's trying to figure it out. Again, positive reinforcement, she's thinking to figure out what do I do. And so as a human, if I'm standing here repeating the command, I am now teaching Liza that I have to say, look, 8 times before she has to do it. So I encourage people, I talk a lot, and my family probably is laughing about you guys saying how calm and quiet I am. But when I'm working with dogs, it's different. I do talk to my dogs a lot, but when I'm working with them and training with them, I don't talk much at all. I give them cues. Try again. Yes, good look. And then I wait for them to give me the behavior. Then I give them, I mark the behavior, I reward it, and then I praise it.
Okay.
So the other thing, and she may not do it because she's super interested in the food that she knows that I have, but with the drop it, Liza, not so much, huh?
Ashleigh, why don't you try one from the bag that we didn't show her before? Yeah.
There you go. Come on, Liza. No problem.
I didn't think she was likely to run off. Liza. Hey, Liza. You want this one? You want this one? Good, Mary, you're the genius. Good.
Oh, okay.
So with the drop it, you're now taking it in your cave. Come on, Liza.
Come on, Liza.
Good girl. So I'm going to show her the treat. Yes, good drop. I'm going to pick it up, and then I'm going to give it right back to her. The reason that I do that is because teaching a dog to drop something, humans are very good at teaching dogs that a human hand coming in takes away.
Sure.
And so I want to teach them that something good happens when you drop something for me. And you typically get it back.
Come here, Liza.
Yes, good drop. So I give her the treat. As I tell her good drop, I hold it for just a minute. Sit.
We'll slide back this way.
Okay. Sit. Good girl. You may have it back. So what she's learning is I get something good for giving you. Oh, sorry, I'm a bad demo person. I'm letting the dog go all over the place. Anyway, I'm letting her. Thank you. I'm letting her see that dropping something for me is good. So you want to wait until she has, yes, good drop. Wait until she has something she is fully allowed to have. Do this little trade. She's getting some food for it. And then, oh, look, you get it back.
Cool.
So that way, by the time I need you to drop something for me, no brainer, no big deal. As with everything, you phase the food out over time. I'm not going to give her a treat every single time forever.
Yeah, that's going to mess up her diet.
Exactly. But in the beginning, I want to give her a treat every single time so she figures out dropping things is good. Why don't you try it this time, Jerry?
Okay. Liza, you want this, baby girl? Baby girl. Hey, Liza.
Let's bring that out, Emma.
Drop it.
So show her the treat.
Hey.
Right next to her nose.
Drop.
Yes.
There we go. Good girl.
Good job.
She's such a good dog.
She is.
Yeah, caring for creatures dog right there.
Yes, alumni. Good girl. Yeah, good call, Mary. She's a big fan of the frog.
This frog is going to last probably 5 minutes before this demo is on. Any other demo you would like to do with Liza?
I think those are the main things that we were going to cover for today.
Okay.
I think that we have a whole lot more stuff to demo, but today we had talked about doing, we're going to talk a little bit further about what we just did, kind of breaking it down for people when we get back to the table. But I think today we were going to focus on doing the look, doing the drop it, and doing the sit.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll head Harris back to the one cam with Mary, and we'll have Mary fill in for us as we head back to the set, and Judah changes the lights.
Yeah, sorry about all those squeaks, but I had a feeling she'd really love that one.
Yeah. I
But,
forgot that you had those in there.
Yeah. I really think, and Ashleigh, you can fill everyone in when we're completely, all three of us back. One of the main, not one of the main, but a regular issue we get calls about at Caring for Creatures, resource guarding, which the drop it game, maybe we would give her a quieter one.
Yeah. Judah, you want to get that treat, right? That toy, okay? And go ahead. You were talking about Mary.
Resource guarding, and it can become very frightening, very dangerous with dogs who resource guard, and this little game is something that potentially will assist folks who may run into that at some point.
And actually, if you play the game early on, and I mean, obviously, if your dog has already shown a propensity towards resource guarding, do this only as you feel safe. I'm not going to go reaching around for stuff. If I know that my dog is going to be, reacting negatively, I'm going to call a professional at that point. But if you don't have any, inclination that this is going to be an issue, start playing this as soon as you get your puppy home, as soon as you get your adult rescue home. An ounce of prevention truly is worth a pound of cure. And if you start taking these positive steps and doing these things, I can potentially, have you not develop these negative behaviors because I am encouraging you to do these positive behaviors. And again, that silly little game, it's teaching the dog a number of things. And one of them is that a human hand coming in doesn't always take away. What I tend to see is dogs learn quickly. Human hand comes in, takes away. And so I'm going to eat it really fast, whatever it is that I have, so that you can't get it from me. Or I'm going to run behind the couch or under the bed or something so you can't get it. Or, like you said, I'm going to start showing my teeth. I'm going to start growling. And guess what? They're rewarded for those behaviors because it's effective. I am growling, I'm showing my teeth, and those humans back away. This is exactly the behavior that I need to do.
I love it. Let's get to the feed.
does.
Angela Tanner Dillon Great
Nancy.
show today. So much useful information. Sandy Van Nordstrand says, wow, Liza is in treat heaven. Great work, Liza.
She is.
She really was a treat. Liza has it good here.
She does.
I mean, and
yeah.
the
It's
crazy
a perfect
story-
place for her, though.
Seriously.
Perfect.
She has made, you know what, because and you're going to love this, I am a tad bit, well, I'm the owner of the business, and I'm very much a perfectionist, and certainly OCD and very anal, okay? Since we've had Liza introduced to the business and her coming here, the place has been more mellow.
Yeah, I'll believe that.
It's
Liza projects a very easygoing
energy.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the story
that-
behind Liza, we've
yeah.
talked about here, is we initially had a Caring for Creatures, kind of like a meet and greet stand.
Right.
Is that fair?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, in
Yep.
front of our studio out here on Market Street.
That's right.
And Mary was bringing Liza to the meet and greet in front of us. And then Judah, her human, who you just saw briefly in the demo video, the
Yeah.
producer, fell in love with her.
Yeah. I mean, what's not to fall in love with?
She's a
you
great
know?
dog.
She's a great dog. And, we did that one spot over at Animal Connection.
Yeah.
And she picked her own sweater right off the shelf. I wasn't overly excited about that. But we were busy and we weren't looking.
I don't think Judah's washed
So-
that sweater since that day. Look, he's laughing over there. I know he has not washed that sweater. Judah. Okay, we need to get back on task here. What else we got here for Ashleigh Mary?
Anyway, I think another question, and I know this sounds very basic, but we get a lot of people looking to adopt, and one of the things they say is, I want a dog that's housebroken.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, your dog can be housebroken.
Right.
But I said, they will be housebroken if the humans help them understand how to do that. So
Yes.
maybe you could give a quick primer. If you're bringing a new dog, adult dog,
sure.
into your home, how would you suggest they housebreak that dog?
Absolutely. First of all, I very much recommend crate training. It's really important for a number of reasons, and one of them is even just keeping your dog safe when you're not there until they learn, not to get into things, not to chew things up, things like that. But also, it's helpful with housebreaking. So, and a lot of people are, it's so mean, it's cruel, it's a cage.
They want to
It's
go
not.
in there.
Exactly.
They
It's
like
their
we
den.
talk about this all the time.
If it's properly introduced,
Right.
it's their den. Dogs are den animals. Now, what is cruel is if a dog has never been in a crate before and you shove them in and shut the door. Yes, that is cruel. But if you properly introduce it, like you said, your dog goes in there because they want to.
Or if the crate is too small, or if the
Right.
crate, if the dog is left in the crate like 23 hours a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes you expect people to use common sense, but
Right.
sometimes that's beyond some people. But absolutely. So introducing the crate, and really my biggest thing with house training is keep your eyes on the dog at all times, because if they start to go,
They do the waddle.
yes,
And the
then
circle walk.
Yep, up. We don't go in here, and then
Yeah.
you redirect outside. Big praise when they go outside. What tends to happen is people are like, "Well, I was in the room with them, but you were checking your email or
Right.
doing whatever you were doing.
Watching
You weren't
TV.
watching." And the dog went over there and peed. The more they're able to do the behavior, the more they feel like this is the behavior that is okay, and we're going to do that. And so, hawk eyes on the dog at all times. And then once they start to get it, then you don't have to have hawk eyes on them all the time. All of my dogs have always earned out of crate privileges because they all learn not to go in the house. Knowing key times when dogs are going to need to go to the bathroom.
Right. If they just drank a bunch of water, take
Amen.
them outside.
Yes. If they've just woken up from a nap.
Right.
If they.
First thing in the morning.
Yep. If they have just been vigorously playing, everything's moving around in there,
That's right.
something's going to need to come out. So knowing times that they're going to need to go. You can also introduce like a bell or something to get them to tell you that they need to go outside. And again, everything is really easy that you introduce. So in the first times that you're introducing it, you can get like $1 like jingle bell that you get at Christmas time from Walmart or something hanging on your door. Go out the same door every time so they know which one to go to. And every time you go out, you ring the bell.
Cool.
And they will start to figure
idea.
out, oh, the bell
Bell.
means I get to go outside. Now, I'll warn you, some dogs are like, I just want to ring the bell because I just want to go back outside. I don't really
good
need to
idea.
take care of any business. But that way, if you're not, because my dogs always, and it's not because I'm some sort of fantastic trainer, the dogs were just smart, and they always learn to just go sit in front of the door. Well, what if you're not in the room? I have a really small house, and so I could always see that they were sitting in front of the door, but what if you have a big house and you're in another room? You can hear that bell and know that they need to go outside.
How about this question? And I evolved on this, but need to put it out there. My first dog had no idea what I was doing. When the dog had an accident in the house, I would then put my dog's nose in the accident in the house because that's what I heard through the grapevine was the right way to do. My German Shepherds, dogs 2 and 3, older in life, more experience with dogs. At that point, my first dog was, 11? Okay, so I had 11 years of experience raising the dog. I did not do that. And I found that the dogs, the fellas, the boys, picked it up faster. Do you put the nose in the pee mistake?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
No?
No.
Bad?
No.
And I find it very
just because
entertaining.
it's like it's rude, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, who would want that?
Well, and the dog is not making the connection. If
Right.
they peed 5 minutes ago and you bring them over to the pee, they're not getting what you think they're getting. And people will argue me down. Oh, I know, they're ashamed, and they're giving you that body language because they know you're pissed. They can
Right,
tell by the way you're
exactly.
standing and the way that you're talking, no pun intended, that you're angry with them, and that's why they're giving you that. But dogs, unless you, again, that's why you need to catch them in the act. And you want to startle them enough that it closes all the sphincters. So I usually just do a hey, 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 you know, get them to stop, then immediately outside to finish. You don't want to scare them because,
Sure.
you know, it's
They're
if you
gonna have an
terrify them, then all of a sudden they think going in front of you is a bad thing. So you can go outside
hide
and
over here and
exactly.
do it, yeah.
But yeah, no putting the nose in it. And I always find it so entertaining when people call it an accident because they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
They had to go. Well, you know, another issue that comes up, and I've had it with my own dog, Charlie, and he's the type, he gets outside, and I'm now talking probably the last break before we go to bed. And I go out, and he just loves the smells out there and everything. And if I'm not out there watching him, he does
forgets.
everything except pee. And then he's like, and when I do stand out there, I go, let's pee now, go on. And then he runs to this corner and that corner, and I'm watching him, and I've got a big light. But yeah, he comes right back to the door, and I go, you haven't done anything yet. And it can sometimes take me 5 or 10 minutes to convince him, yeah, you do want to pee because we're going to go to bed.
Well, do you do, so we had success with this, with, I got it the first dog at the wrong time. Obviously, we've made that point here, okay. But with the second and third dogs, we've had success with the do your business. When we walk outside, it's like, all right, Max, all right, Leo, it's time to do your business. And they like hear, which is kind of like what you're saying with the bell. They hear like it's do your business, and they're like more focused to then do their business outside.
Well, the bell actually just means let's go outside. And so again, sometimes they don't even have to go to the bathroom. They'll just ring the bell to go outside. But I actually do, I pair it with let's go potty. My dogs have always known
You
go
say
potty.
that every time? Yeah.
And in fact, in the early stages, I go out in the yard with my dogs. I have a piece of kibble handy. As soon as they do it, yes, good potty. So again, then I can say go potty. They know what they're supposed to do. Because you're right, they can get outside and they can be outside a half an hour and they didn't do a single thing other than sniff and have a good time.
And where that's really kind of a pain in the tail is when you have weather like this.
Yes,
And then you're like outside in the rain, and my dogs never want to go to the bathroom quickly when it's raining.
No.
I'm like, what are you doing? Go to the damn bathroom. It's raining right now. I hate this.
And my dog doesn't like umbrellas, so I just go out and get wet. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and I guess that's what makes them great, is that they're kind of like playing with us. People are giving some love here. You're going to have to help me with this name here. Is it Ronnie Lazary?
Lozier.
Lozier.
Yeah.
Ronnie Lozier says, I love Mary and Ethan loves Ashley, and so does Brewster.
That's funny. I was about to
yeah,
say
yeah.
I love Ethan and Brewster.
Jeanette Keir?
Janet Keir.
Janet Keir, yeah.
K-E-A-R?
Yeah.
Jan used to work at Caring for Creatures.
She says,
yes.
she said,
Hey,
I miss you.
I miss
and
you
I miss
too.
Ashley too. Star says, hi, Mary.
Hey,
Can't
Star.
wait to see you guys.
Stars from Caring for Creatures,
Really?
too. Yeah.
Let's see here. We have, I may have said this comment. If not, I want to make sure I mention everyone's names because we certainly appreciate you guys joining us here. Let's see here. Colleen says, my favorite part about Ashley's classes is she can actually teach me to teach my dog. We have come so far. And Cindy, who's watched from start to finish, just left another comment. Great job, Ashley. Scout is ready for you, baby.
German Shepherd, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
Is there some dog breeds that are easier to train than others?
Yes, and German Shepherds tend to be part of those, but
Yeah.
not all.
Okay.
And even like within a litter with the same exact, DNA. Some dogs have different personalities, and some
are more
dogs have-
stubborn?
Yep, exactly. And some dogs are more intelligent, but more difficult to train because they don't have as great a desire to please you.
Right.
They want to please themselves.
I've heard before that, and this is maybe a dumb question here. I've heard before that the lower the intelligence with the dog, the easier he or she is to train. Is that true?
It could be.
Because the higher IQ dogs are the ones that are like more apt to figure things out on their own or do things like that are not following the rules because they can, put 2 and 2 together to lead to something else. What do you think? Not?
I think it's all individual.
Okay.
I have 2 comments related to what she was just saying about ease in training. And way back, and I'm talking over 30 years ago, and I had my first shepherd, which it seemed like I waited 100 years to get. But anyway, so I took her to a training class, and way back then, it was the correction training. And what was very interesting, she did well in the first class or 2. And then it was sort of like she would look at me like, why are you doing that? Why are you messing with my neck with that thing? We don't need that. Right. And she actually sat down, or laid down rather, in the middle of the class and almost just refused to do anything. And the trainer even made a comment. She goes, she's really kind of done with this. And I said, yeah. I got it too. Yeah. And so quite frankly, I never took her to another class, and I never had to. She just was on that level of being able to know. But the other, Ashleigh and I were in a conversation recently about getting dogs to sit. And we both came unknowingly with the same comment that one of the most challenging breeds that I have seen in trying to teach sit is a hound.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Ashleigh separately came and said the same. Oh gosh, yeah.
What do you think that is? Because of the nose?
I don't know.
I just think they don't naturally sit very much because that's the thing. Is I always encourage people, if they're having a hard time luring their dog into something, watch them and capture them, because a lot of people think capturing is too easy. It's too good to be true. And basically, what capturing is the dog does something of their own volition, and I mark it and reward it, put a name to it. Then I can start to ask you for it eventually, because you'll start to understand what it means. These dogs just don't naturally sit.
No.
They go from standing up to laying down. And so
it's
you don't have much to capture.
My buddy has a farm in Nelson County, and he swears by beagles. And he swears that some of the most difficult dogs to train, especially off leash, are beagles. And it's because before they know it, their nose has taken them like 3 miles away. And he's like, I just, he uses the beagles for hunting, but he's one of the good beagle owners. Not the ones that the beagles part of the family.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I know there's a lot of hunters in the area, and this was something I learned when I first came to Caring for Creatures 30 years ago, because I wasn't used to people, hunting deer with dogs. Running dogs.
Yeah.
And what I also learned, it was very easy to see what dogs cared about and respected their humans, and which ones didn't. Right. And if a dog ended up, at our facility, and we'd call the person, and there were many dogs who were like, "Oh no, there he is." And then there were other dogs. "Hi, here I am. You found me."
Yeah.
So I feel, while I'm not a hunting person, I might choose not to do that, but I know others have the right to do it.
Sure.
But what I wish for is these animals are very talented.
Yeah.
Very talented. And I would rather they be partners than just being used and abused and then thrown away.
And discarded. If you don't do what I want you to do, we're just going to let you go.
And instead of keeping their health at peak performance, they don't want to invest the money. Some, not everybody, don't want to invest the dollars. There are some very responsible. And when I see it, I'm like, yay, you get it, you get it.
I'm hoping that mindset becomes more ubiquitous, and then the mindset that the dog is like a tool slowly erodes. Time will tell. I think maybe shows like this can help with that.
Let's hope. Let's hope so.
We have, and we're 62 minutes in. You guys
oh my
done a
God.
nice job here. Beth Wallace-Glass says,
hi, Beth.
Hi, Mary and crew. Lily and I send love about following the rules. Lily is beginning to teach me what's best for both of us. Thank you for sharing that,
They
Beth.
do that.
Janet says, Star said she sits for treats, will do anything for a treat, and she said, I'm a hound.
Yeah, that's true.
Some
Star
hounds
is
absolutely
a hound.
sit.
Yeah, that's true. She's good. Yeah.
There's an exception to every
There
rule,
is.
for sure.
There is. Yeah. Good for you. That's why she's a star.
How about this one? If you could only give one piece of advice when rescuing a dog, what would it be? That's for you, Ashleigh.
Really, even if it's not a rescue, even if it's a puppy, my biggest advice to people is be a student of your dog. Figure out who they are, what their likes are, what their fears are. Get to know who they are as an individual, and then build a relationship. You really can't go wrong if you do that.
How about you? I got an answer for that one too, but you go first, Mary. What do you think about that one?
I feel pretty much the same as Ashleigh. I feel that trust is essential. You cannot move forward with anyone, whether it's human or animal, unless there's a trust between the two of you. And be open. Be open to hearing what see what they're showing you, and not deciding ahead of time what it is. And being open and being willing to let them teach you too.
Mine kind of piggybacks on yours, and I learned this the hard way, and I wouldn't do it again. I would still do the same thing again. I don't have any regrets, but it's know what dogs are best for your personal environment. And
Yes.
150-pound St. Bernard in Florida when you're in
Right.
an apartment
Yeah.
is probably not a good
Not the
choice
best
for
choice.
you. Okay, so consider yourself first, and then understand your environment and what you have to offer to the animal, and then choose an animal that matches that kind of situation.
Absolutely.
Because that'll help with success. And I learned that the hard way. I still love you, Lucy.
But you made it work for you.
Oh my gosh,
you
we
made
had
it work.
17
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
It was amazing.
And that's incredible.
It was
17
incredible.
is, wow.
Yeah.
She was, and I'd say 15 and a half of those were amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great
Yeah.
time. Anything else you'd like to add?
No,
Good show
other
today.
than it was a fun show. Yeah. I think, and training is fun, as
Yes,
Ashleigh
it
always
is.
says.
She's
So
coming back.
she's coming. That's what I wanted to say. Ashleigh has agreed to do an ongoing training class for as long as we can. So I'm inviting everyone to email Caring for Creatures. What do you want covered? Do you have specific questions?
Good idea.
We'll try to follow some ideas, that Ashleigh and I sort of put together as to problems that we Caring for Creatures get calls about, what we see, what challenges we're facing, and you probably are too. So let us know. What do you want to learn?
I love it.
Yeah.
And find them at caringforcreatures.org. They can use the contact form, right?
Yes,
And that'll go to
absolutely.
you?
You can email directly through the website.
Yeah, directly
Yep.
through their website, and we'll incorporate your perspective into next week, Thursday at 3 show. Anything from you, Ashleigh?
Gosh, I don't know what I could wrap up in this little piece. I feel like there's so much that we didn't get to cover today that we had talked about, but that's just kind of how it is when you start talking about dogs. You get all passionate about it. There's so much to cover.
Well, we have so much in common here.
Yeah,
it was great. You did a great job.
Thank
Yes.
you. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And that's the thing is, I really think if you want to just boil it all down, it is a matter of trust, building your relationship, realizing that dogs have a lot to teach us. I think that's what I've learned a lot in working with dogs is it's not just about me teaching them. Be open to what they will teach you as well.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Annie in
Hi,
England,
Annie.
she's
Yay.
watching. Mary, you are a superstar. You spread the love for your animals and us humans as well. I'm honored to have my guys. She means her dogs.
She adopted two from CFC
yeah.
and flew them
To
from
England.
the States to England. That's
Yeah.
why I had to go
Awesome.
back.
Annie Stables, we love you,
Yeah,
Annie. We miss
we
you,
love you, Annie.
She says, we love the Caring for Creatures show. Great work, guys. And Cindy said, to close, what a great show. I cannot wait till next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pull out your iPhones. Put it in your calendar. Thursdays at 3 p.m. for the Caring for Creatures show. We're just going to have like a good roundtable discussion about animals.
Yeah. Next Thursday, I will give you a little hint of
Okay.
who's being here.
Oh.
We've got next Thursday Mallory, who is one of our adoption coordinators.
Cool.
And she works
And
very well with
she
the dogs.
Does. She does work very well with the dogs. We're going to switch gears a little bit to a cat.
Okay.
And an adopter who adopted a special needs cat is going to be here.
Cool.
Talk about her experience. The cat goes to college with her, so there's going to be some interesting stories there.
Cat's going to college.
Yeah.
Good job.
And Mallory's going to talk about how she tries to match kitties with potential adopters. So
I
that's
love it.
Next Thursday.
I love it, guys. Keep liking and sharing the show. And are you archiving them on the website?
Yes.
You are putting them on
Well,
the
I
website?
think so.
Okay.
I have to ask Diane.
Okay, you should do that.
I think so.
Yeah, if you're not watching it in real time here, you can find it on Caring for Creatures Facebook page, on Mary Birkholz's Facebook page. We're also archiving her shows on ilovecville.com. And I would think caringforcreatures.org.
Yeah, I think she is. I have to get Diane to put. We send out links.
Right, you do the e-newsletter.
The
That's good.
e-newsletter all the time.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Mary Birkholz crushed it. Ashleigh crushed it. Harris Tolber, thank you, sir. You're very adaptable, and you're a good team player. Judah Wickhauer and Liza, thank you. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is the Caring for Creatures show. Thanks to Mary Birkholz on the I Love CVille Network. We'll see you Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That was like very...
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't cover a fraction of what we had
I
talked
know,
about.
but it doesn't.